or on YouTube. Hope you're all really well. Hope you enjoy what is going to happen here this evening. As ever, full qualifying session, Q1, Q2 and Q3, followed by a 5-minute break and a 50% distance race. And quite fitting, Carito is first out on track. This will be, for the time being at least, his final race in the league. He's going off to pastures new after this season, so Carito, thank you very much. Everything you have given this league this season. Carito, the only other driver this season in Assist Tier 1 with a race win, aside from those top three. We'll talk a bit more about those dominance, about that dominance from those three a little bit later in the stream. I have some stats that will blow your minds. Evening Padge, best of luck out on track, opting for a hard compound tyre. Very interesting. But of course, Q1, only 15 here, so everyone will get through and be able to go to Q2. One thing you don't do is crash out of this session. However, sometimes people tend to use these Q1 sessions as a bit of a practice session. Get some rhythm in the car, get your pace up, get your confidence up. All very useful and good strategies to use Q1 as tonight. Others will just set a lap time and retire. Have a bit of a break before the real work starts in Q2. And Carito sets us off with a 1 minute 30.3. RP1 Ice, 30.5 on his first lap, and Chaz on the medium compound, just 100th away from Ice there, not too bad on those medium compounds. As we say, the championship really is close in the sense that it has come down to the final race of the season. But with that 23-point lead at the top, Josh obviously is in the driver's seat in more ways than one. And Deflated has one goal tonight. He must win this race. If he doesn't win and Josh fails to score, Josh will still be a champion. So Deflated needs to win, and with only 15, I guess that's made Wee's job a little bit easier there as Asthma Frog, you see. Making a bit of a boo-boo on the chicane at the end of the track. Some race practice in. Get some consistency up there. Everyone else, though, still in the pits. 4 times on the board. Padge out on track. The other 10 are not out on track. It's a bit of a slow start. So then, chat, how are we? How is your week going? What do you think of the Japanese circuit in Suzuka? Has won the championship and is our newest champion in the league. He has the distinct privilege of being promoted to Assist Tier 1 for next season. However, there is still lots of information to bombard you with. Sunday the 4th of June, we will have our first ever overtake of the season stream. At the moment, we have 34 clips. We're going to be watching them all live on stream, putting them in a tier maker. And at the very end, you can vote for your favourite overtake the whole season. And tier maker will be public, so even during the stream on the 4th of June, you can watch the stream, bring up the tier maker yourself, and make your own tier. And then the following Sunday, Sunday the 11th of June, we will have our Season 4 award stream. It's going to be really cool. We're going to have guests. We've got a few people lined up to appear in both of those special streams. We will try and get confirmation of the reveal stream for Season 5 as and when we can. I imagine we'll probably try and get that information confirmed on the award stream. So then, on the award stream, you'll find out when the reveal stream is, that kind of stuff. What do you mean? What invite are you looking for, Steely? Killian goes quickest. Medium compounds. Only a 10th or so ahead of Deflated, so it's not like Deflated needs to wipe the sweat off his brow. Joseph Hales has joined a little bit later, which means one person will drop out of this session, so long as Joseph Hales can get in his car and get out on track and set a lap time. That means that Fury will need to go quicker than that 1 minute 57. And Padge may think about taking those hard tyres off. We will have to wait and see. Wiggles goes P4. Also, you can sign up for Season 5 right now in the Discord. It's under Season 5 sign up. It's in the top segment of channels in the Discord server if you are in the Discord server. So make sure you sign up. You can sign up for a no assist full-time role, although all those spots are taken, so you're just going to have to sign up for a reserve role for the no assist tier. You can sign up for an assist tier full-time and reserve role, whichever one you want. You can also sign up for stewarding and streaming if you want to get involved in any of that. Make sure you click that thumbs up. It's nice to know, TD, that you've washed today. As I say, this is the calm before the storm. 5 people yet to set a lap time. Padge back into the pits, so I imagine he'll be setting a lap time with a quicker set of tyres on the car. But as Season 4 comes to a close, and to avoid a big brain fart at the end of the stream, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has made this season what it is. All the way from the drivers, all the people who reserve each week. Josh goes ahead of Mr. Wiggles on the medium compound, about 4/10 off of Killian. But as I say, in this session it won't really matter too much. For all the streamers who have sacrificed a lot of hours this season to make sure you have a stream to watch, rewatch, to engage with. All the stewards who work so effortlessly and tirelessly behind the scenes to get the fair results done. To all the managers and owners of the league, people in management who continue to make this league new, fresh, fun, whatever you name it, they've done it. So thank you very much to all of you for being a part. Even if you don't race or do anything in this league but just watch our streams, we really value and appreciate that as well. And it has been a pleasure to witness the Assist Tier 1 action this season. As we say, it has been thoroughly dominated by ETE Killian, Deflated Wheat and IIRL Josh LFC. And in the 5-minute break, I will give you some mind-blowing stats. Joseph Hales then has made it out on track and has got a lap time on the board. It's 1 minute 30.8. So, currently in P12, ahead of Smaller, Smiley and Padge. Girthy Steve has retired from the session, which means everyone else will be safe, although I think for TD's confidence levels, for his sanity perhaps, just not want to get a lap on the board, overcome those invalidations that he has had earlier this session. All dry, by the way. 82 are in for a downpour. Thank you, Padge. I think TD said it earlier, but I just forgot to read it out. So yeah, no rain expected this evening. It is a dry Japan. And TD invalidates once more. So Killian sets us off in Q1 on the medium compound with a 129.8. I expect we'll see possibly a low 29 or high 28 next session. Top 11, only 0.7 of a second, so not really too much. If you make a huge mistake in Q2, chances are you might bite the dust because of it. Girthy Steve, with no lap time on the board, has called it quits earlier on the session, and that saves TD, who did not get a valid lap time on the board. And as we said, just doing a bit of race practice, but didn't need to go out in the end to improve. Yeah, that's how we're doing things. Hopefully that makes complete sense. Yeah, I believe we only have limited spaces available for full-time seats. Joseph Hales messaged me about 20 minutes ago saying he hasn't done a single lap today, so it should be fun. Well, best of luck, Joseph Hales. Let's have a look then. Season 5 sign-up. We have 5 spots remaining for a full-time assist tier driver. So, if you run assists, or even not, and you want to be part of the assist tier next season as a full-time driver, make sure you get that tick on the box as soon as you can. Vegas, Qatar. I, like a lot of people, am excited to see what Vegas and Qatar tracks look like. Hoping as well for the new Spanish Grand Prix layout. I believe, based on some rumours and word of mouth, that the Singapore track may not change for next season. So that will be a little bit of a shame, but you can't get everything from Codemasters, can you? I cannot recommend gambling to you, I'm not going to lie. Joseph Hales, decent lap for no practice tonight so far. 29.6, 5 tenths ahead of Carito, who is 2 tenths ahead of Squire. Don't think Singapore will be updated. I don't mind that, to be honest. I can like current Singapore. It's not bad, Singapore. I'd say that bit of the track is annoying for me personally, but you know, I like the track. Sorry for being a nerd. Hey, nothing wrong with a nerd. I'm a nerd. That's my frog. P4. 30.4. Bit of a slow start to the session. Plenty of drivers still in the pits. Of course, bottom 5 heading out. We already know Top Gun is out of the session. There's 4 more drivers to join him. Just going to get out the bath and sort myself out, then I'll join session. Fair enough, mate. Vegas looks like a good track. To be honest, for racing, everyone should stick together. Vegas is terrible. Almost every bit is flat out except for like 3 corners. Well, I imagine it'll be very similar to maybe Austria. That's what I'm imagining. When you race Austria, you have to get into a mindset of let's get fast, let's get a flow going, let's get some consistency on the board. A bit like Saudi. It's very fast flowing, it's very frantic. You need to have good high focus throughout. That's what I imagine it will be like. Wiggles goes quickest by a couple of tenths. Of course, it's not about who's quickest in Q2, it's all about not being in the bottom 5. Considering my first lap since Tuesday was 1 lap in Q1 on mediums, I'm happy with that banker. So you should. Not too shabby. Possibly hate. Just depends on your experiences. I'm sure everyone on this game has spun in the air section at some point. Vegas isn't terrible, it's just not creative. I like that. I like that description. Still, only 5 times on the board. And we are halfway through our session. So the other 9 need to get a wriggle on. Padge in the pits, Ice in the pits, who we just saw a few moments ago. Everyone else, apart from them, out on track. So plenty of times. We'll be heading onto the board in the next couple of minutes. Starting with smallest Smiley, who goes 5th fastest. Killian is next across the line, who goes a 10th, or just under a 10th quicker than Mr. Wiggles. So pressure is firmly on Deflated tonight, as we say. Trails Josh by 23 points. Needs to win this Grand Prix, if possible with fastest lap. There are very few scenarios in which Deflated can win this championship, but it is possible. And in IRL, never say never. Deflated, of course, needs to win. If Josh keeps on setting quali laps like that, though, Deflated might struggle to get on pole position. Chaz pops in there 1 millisecond ahead of Killian up into P2. Josh 0.2 ahead of the pack. So Deflated needs to win. And for him to win the championship tonight, Josh will need to finish 9th, 10th, or lower. Or, obviously, doesn't finish at all. Deflated P2, and I'm sure he will be happy with that. I'll get him through in the drop zone as we speak, but he will go again, and is improving through the first sector. Another scenario in which Deflated will win, if he wins the race with fastest lap and gets 26 points. No, sorry, if he just wins the race and doesn't get fastest lap, and Josh finishes P9, they will be tied on points. And obviously then it will go to count back, for instance, how many wins they've had. And at the moment, we and Josh are tied on 5 wins each. So if Deflated were to win tonight, and Josh were to finish 9th, Deflated would win the championship on number of wins. That is the sitch. I need to remember that one before I completely butcher that in the race. But obviously Josh's goal is just to finish in the top 8. Padge has retired a few moments ago, which means he will take no part in the rest of Q2 and Q3. He will be heading out alongside Top Gun and 3 of these drivers. TD, Ice, Asmafrog in the drop zone, all out on track at the moment. Smaller Smiley into the pits. He is the time to beat on a 1 minute 30.401. Unfortunately, Vegas was very restricted with what they could do. Have I all seen the new Fast and Furious? I have not. I am not a film person, unfortunately. I haven't set 1 clean lap. Well, now's a good time to do it, TD. And best of luck on your endeavours. Spinning Ferrari of Allied Squire. Arjan joining late. Joined us for his debut on Tuesday night, so this is his assist tier debut tonight. All the best, mate. And if you are watching, please don't do what you do on Tuesday. Asmafrog improves to 6th and only a few hundredths away from Mr. Wiggles. That's a pretty good lap, if you ask me. Let's see if Ice is cool as a cucumber on this lap, or whether he's feeling the pressure. Certainly the session is heating up, getting into its closing stages. I hope I'm not in trouble here, says Hales. There's a 4/10 gap between Fury and Carito. So there's always a bit of a chance that 4/10 gap will not be broken through. And of course you need 4 people to go quicker than you, Joseph, and there's only 6 available to do so. So I'd say statistically, as Ice spins into the pits, and that is not a reset to track, by the way, that is the game resetting him automatically. "22 seconds left," which means Ice, after spinning at the final corner, is very highly unlikely to improve on that lap time and get through. So I think RP1 Ice will be starting 12th. Obviously Padge has retired without a time on the board in 14th, which means this could just be a battle here between Smaller Smiley, Carito and Fury. I think Joseph Hales is officially safe. Literally been using the curb at 130R all the time. Touch it today and it makes you spin. Sometimes that happens. Smaller Smiley, half a second up. Good enough for a high 29. That will put him in 10th place as things stand. The good last sector might put him up ahead of Fury. But it is just P10, which means Carito, as he comes across the line, is out of qualifying. And that is a bit of a shock. Chaz, first tonight to go into the 1 minute 28s. 20 points or more, which would probably look like both drivers in the top 5. So top 10 then, led by Little Chaz. Finishes off with Smaller Smiley in 10th. Carito just missing out by a 10th and a bit. RP1 Ice with not a representative time on the board. Padge, TD and Top Gun retiring without a time in Q2. Will it be 5 different pole sitters? I dare you, Tom, just to break down the door, just to see your dad's reaction. Deflated then kicks us off rather fittingly in Q3, and let's watch this on board. A little bit wide through 1. Haven't really analysed anyone's laps yet. Last time this season we will get to enjoy this alien tier, produce some of these quali laps which have at times been phenomenal. Been running out of superlatives to describe these drivers with. Sticks it through 4th. Under the bridge, down to 3rd for the hairpin. Doesn't really matter if you miss that apex, it's all about the exit. And it's all about the rotation you get through that hairpin. Up to 8th. And down to 5th. Keep as much speed as you can. Drops to 4th for the second spoon corner. Corrects a little bit of a potential snap of oversteer. But keeps it all clean on the exit of the spoon corner. Completely flat through 130R. These cars too good on the traction and the grip nowadays. Don't expect to see anyone lifting off unless it's wet. Take a nice tight line, and this is the quickest time we've seen this evening so far. 28.8. Mr. Wiggles, his teammate, 4 tenths back as Killian does a 28.9 and puts himself 1 tenth away from provisional pole. Currently on the front row of the grid. Asthma Frog 30.9, but we do know he can go quicker than that. So it must have had some kind of a mistake or backed off towards the end. Little Chaz ended Q2 on top of the timing screens. Can he get there again? Needs to go quicker than his Q2 time to do so. It is a 28.9 and puts himself ahead of Killian onto, provisionally, the front row of the grid. So that's a decent lap there from Chaz. What about Josh, though? He's coming round the final chicane, and this could be a very crucial lap. It's a 28.9 and puts himself into P2. Fury will be next across the line as he crosses the second sector split and brakes hard for the chicane. Gets on the power. Goes up through the gears before engaging full throttle. 29.8 as Allied Squire behind him sets a 29.6 and goes 6th fastest. Smaller Smiley. The camera was not caught up there. I thought maybe he was stopped on track. Oh my word, CD. That is hilarious. Smaller Smiley then to round out the first quali runs from everyone. 30.2 ahead of his teammate on the 4th row of the grid. We will stay on board with Joseph Hales as he goes through his outlap and flying lap. You go in with the shampoo already on your head and soap in hand. Quick swipe of important body parts. Get out, rush the teeth with about 30 seconds. That's 1 minute gone. And then literally have to put your clothes on in the other minute. Wow. Army life isn't for me. But full respect to you for doing that, mate. It's always your sector 2. Not good, said Mr. Wiggles, so that middle sector catching Wiggles out. Not too far away, only 4 tenths away from pole position, so with a bad sector 2, 4 tenths sounds pretty reasonable, to be honest. In his own little world, Mr. Wiggles, in between Killian and Allied Squire, 6 tenths between 4th and 6th. Mr. Wiggles slap bang in the middle. What about Joseph Hales then? As he navigates this tricky middle sector. The trickiest parts are the 2 Degners underneath the bridge and then the hairpin. That is the big challenge. Obviously Spoon Corner as well adds to that difficult sector 2. The split comes up on the middle of this straight he's on now. You got out already. You got out in 2019. Well, whatever floats your boat, I guess. It took you 3 minutes 40. You timed it. Joseph Hales, P5. And not too far away from a spot on the front row of the grid. Everyone else in the pits, aside from Asma Frog and Joseph Hales, who we just saw going 5th fastest. Oh, and that is exactly what that corner's about. Dunlop Curve, I believe it's called. And that is exactly what happens if you get on that inside corner. So, the final quali runs of 81 this season. I will try and follow everyone at some point on their lap. You can see how congested it is in that middle sector around the hairpin going up to the Spoon Corner now. There's 6 or 7 cars all within about 6 seconds on track. Joseph wasn't able to get out for a run in time and will finish the session in 5th at best. Some of those drivers below him might be aiming for a low 29 to get him ahead of Hales. Just missed out on time. Would have missed it by about 5 seconds. Not too bad though. P5 at the moment, Joseph, considering no practice earlier on today. Not too shabby, if you ask me. As you say, only a 10th off your no assist time on Tuesday night with 0 practice. As I say, pretty impressive stuff. SLT Fury needs a couple of tenths of a second to beat Asthma Frog and get up into the top 7. Currently 4 tenths to the good. If he improves by about 7 tenths, he might get ahead of Mr. Wiggles. Chaz Dunn. Maybe an invalidation for little Chaz that we haven't seen yet. Fury, 7th fastest. Who is the next? Mr. Wiggles. And I think he has backed off. He has. Mr. Wiggles was up in the first sector, but made a huge mistake in the middle sector. And that is all she wrote. What about Josh then? No, who's next? It's Killian. 2 tenths to the good. through the middle section of the lap. Times are going to flood in after Killian posts his time. Deflated out on track, looking to extend his grip on pole position. Killian goes fastest by 1/10 of a second, and here comes Deflated and steals pole position right back. And here comes Josh, who takes pole position by 1/10 of a second. Chaz on a slow lapse that just leaves Allied Squire, who is going round with Chaz on an in-lap. So it's the three usual customers out in front. Josh proving once again why you should never count him out. There have only been 4 pole sitters. 3 of them, Josh, Deflated and Killian. The other one was Adrian, all the way back in round number 2. For the past 16 races, either Josh, we, or Killian have taken pole in 81 this season. Truly is a remarkable feat. So Josh takes the 81 pole record this season. 7 pole positions, was tied with Wee for 6 apiece. Officially has the most poles this season in Assist Tier 1 with 7. Deflated Wee exactly where he needs to be in terms of challenging for the win. But of course, if Josh finishes 8th or above, it doesn't matter where Deflated finishes. All those ramifications for the race will be fixed at some point. Row 2 goes to Killian and Chaz. Joseph Hales, after the 1 run, is 5th and joined by Mr. Wiggles on row 3. Row 4 is Fury and Frog, and the 5th row of the grid, Allied Squire and Smaller Smiley. And this 5-minute break is dedicated to the top 3 this season. Killian, Deflated, Josh. It's very rare. It's very common, I should say, that you have someone who kind of runs away with the championship a little bit. Someone who is head and shoulders above the rest of the field. But to have 3 who are consistently above and beyond the levels that everyone is setting in this tier is a pleasure to watch. The championship fight has been nothing short of fantastic and a privilege and an honour to be a part of. Let me just give you some stats that just highlights how dominant those top 3 have been. Before this race, there has been, in Assist Tier 1 this season, 1,833 total points scored. Over 50% of those points are with Killian, Josh and Wee. 50.7% of all points this season in 81 have gone to those top 3. We have had 18 races this season and 17 pole positions have gone to the top 3. We've had 17 total wins and 16 wins have gone to the top 3. Out of the 51 podium sitters from the 17 previous races, 38 of those spots have gone to the top 3. That is 74% of all podium slots have gone to the top 3. And the amount of times that Killian, Josh and Wee have qualified in the top 3 spots is 70%. They are head and shoulders above everyone in this field, and I'm not sure this season will ever be recreated and produced in the same level of racing, in the same manner that which they have dominated. I don't think that will ever happen again in Assist Tier 1. So I hope you are enjoying something special this season. A really struggle show for the race. And we should be getting going momentarily. So Josh, alongside Deflated, it's a fairy tale ending in qualifying. Who is going to come out on top in the championship? And it's go. And Deflated Wheat, perfect start inside line and takes the lead, exactly what he needed to do when the pressure's on. Deflated, you can count on him, but Josh needs to stay 8th or higher to win this championship. It looks all pretty clean for a lot of the field, especially the back runners. Oh, someone's off, and I think that's Padge in the background in the Haas, who has just run off on one of the S corners. That's Allied Squire tempting his fate, going onto the grass at the end of the Dunlop curve. And everyone is cleanly away. Move down the inside of Smaller Smiley. That's Carito. Bit of a squeeze out to the inside. Oh, and that's contact! And how is Smaller Smiley not out of this race? How on earth has that wheel not come off in 2 different places? There is a virtual safety car. Oh, and Smaller Smiley just trying to get control of the car after spinning. And, well, it just looked like Smaller was squeezed slightly by Carito. There was no contact which led to Smaller Smiley's unfortunate crash, but obviously having a car that close to you will provide some level of distraction as Deflated nails that virtual safety car restart. Exactly, Steely. How did he survive? And I guess Smaller Smiley, as disappointing as that is, can thank his lucky stars that he hasn't retired there. Who done it? This isn't 82. Talking about the early start to the race, of course. And Deflated is holding up his end of the bargain in the opening lap or 2, getting Josh out of DRS window. Of course, this race is completely in Josh's hands. Everyone on the hard compound tyre, with the exception of Smaller Smiley, who has just boxed for wing damage as well. Ooh, an Allied Squire. Just losing a bit of traction there at the chicane, at the hairpin even. And he will drop to 16th place, but no damage. Still in the race. Nice battle here between 2 Alphas. Alfa Romeo and Alfa Tauri. Side by side at the exit, Spoon. Thankfully, no side by side. Oh, bit of a late defense from E69, had to be said. And Ice gets out of the move as a result. Top Gun gets a nice exit and engaging some ERS. No DRS, and of course, lap 3 is when it is now enabled, so down the main straight. Now, from now on, you will have DRS. Yellow flag, and there's a Ferrari off, and E69 has crashed. And that is a full course safety car. Moments of madness here in 81, as we had Allied Squire spinning in the background in the S section, and right in front of Top Gun's eyes, E69 spins at the Dunlop curve and crashes out of the final race of the season. It's always a shame when someone crashes out like that. Question now, Will anyone pit? Don't imagine many people will, because even if you move to the medium compound here, you will still have to make another pit stop. I think the best strategy here is stay out, get the track position, and worry about your pit stop later on. You're going to have to pit anyway later on if you box now, so it's not too much point in pitting here. Helps Smaller, it does help Smaller. Smaller hoping for a safety car to get back into this race. He now is back into it as the field reforms. No pit stops as perhaps I suggested. Maybe they're listening to what I'm saying. Oh no, Allied Squire does pit. What do I know? For Allied Squire, it might not actually be the worst decision here to box. Get a new faster set of tyres on the car, catch up to the back of the pack, might be able to make some moves before his second pit stop. Evening Pat, hello, how are you doing? Nice to have you along. We are at our season finale in Japan, round 18 of 18, and the championship is very close. Josh leads Deflated Wee by 23 points, which means if Josh were to finish 8th or above, he would win the championship. Currently in 2nd place, Deflated Wee needs to win this Grand Prix to keep his hopes of a championship alive. If we won this race and Josh finished in 9th, then they would be tied on points, and Deflated Wee would win the championship on number of wins. If Deflated Wee wins this Grand Prix and Josh finishes 10th with the fastest lap, Deflated Wee would again win. But it is very... there are more ways in which Josh can win than Deflated. Come on, Asthma Frog, get some points tonight. Good friend of Asthma Frog. Love Asthma Frog. Already 2 safety cars in this race. Only allowed a maximum of 5. And Deflated is tempting fate here. But the reality of the situation, that safety car is not going quick enough for those drivers to warm up their hard compound tyres. It is going to be a battle of who can warm their tyres up the best under safety car conditions and who can keep it steady once the safety car has gone in until those tyres are back up to temperature. Last thing you want to do is push too hard on this safety car restart and spin, because then you drop all the way to the back of the field down to what is likely to be 17th place. So obviously the pressure is on. Safety car is in this lap, which means Deflated will back up the field. Safety car hasn't got a long way to go to get back into the pit lane, so Deflated doesn't need to do this for too much longer. I imagine in the next couple of moments he will go, possibly out of this final corner. And he does. Keeps it nice and steady. No wheel spin at all. Weaving the car to get heat into the tyres, as Josh does that as well, who has got Killian behind for company. And Josh has been overtaken. It doesn't mean an awful lot. As we say, Josh needs to finish 8th or above to claim his back-to-back championships in 81. But maybe Josh is just struggling on those hard compound tyres. He's being a bit more conservative, being a bit more sensible, a bit more cautious, which he is well within his own right to do so. And I don't think any of these drivers out there, as RP1 Ice and Smaller Smiley, have both spun at the Dunlop curve. Maybe some contact between them as well. Remains to be seen. I don't imagine anyone will be favouring either driver. Obviously, McLaren need to play a team game in terms of the constructors, as Asmafrog gets passed by Carito. Carito, part of the Red Bull garage, who are leading the Constructors' Championship by 19 points. So, as things stand, McLaren are outscoring Red Bull, but I'm not sure they are outscoring them by enough. That Constructors' battle is going to be a tricky one to keep an eye on throughout the course of the race. I'll do my best job with that. If you want to help me out in chat, by all means. Red Bull leading McLaren by 19 points as the moment. Deflated 10 points ahead of Josh. Wiggles is 4 points ahead of Carito. So as things stand, Red Bull would win the Constructors by just 5 points. Oh, and Joseph Hales! It was the parting of the AlphaTauri seat, and unfortunately that is a huge shame for Joseph. Had a fantastic win here on Tuesday night. If you didn't catch it on the no assist race, but no practice before quali session tonight, and sometimes that is what makes the difference. Just getting a few laps under your belt, getting some consistency up and some confidence in the car. Allied Squires spun once again on the Dunlop curve. Gothi Steve has boxed for, I presume, a new wing and a new set of tyres. So finds himself at the back of the field in the S section as the leaders come across. Final chicane now to start. Lap number 9. We are a third almost away through this Grand Prix. And I can only assume that next season will be just as good as this season. I'm not sure it will be as close. It's kind of a rarity how top 3 have scored 50% of all 81 points this season. I'm not sure that will ever be recreated. But just like we saw last week, there is a top 5 beginning to form and break away from the pack. TD gets a time penalty for track limits, 3 warnings, and 3-second penalty will be added on to TD's finishing time. Fury doing well in P6 at the moment, but has dropped out of DRS range of that top 5, which means that gap may increase per lap by a few tenths. Asmafrog really putting some pressure on Carito here. Carito's red light is flashing at the back of the car, which means he has less than 10% ERS storage remaining. Not long since the safety car came in, so Carito has really been pushing to try and either catch Fury or build a gap on Asmafrog, but Frog has stuck with him, shall I say, and that's his personal best lap. Asmafrog 6 tenths to the good, and this will be a move round the outside of the first corner, and I don't think there was contact as Carito spins and there's more contact, and TD is off at turn 2, and that was definite contact with Top Gun. Again, we didn't quite see all of it, and there is a full course safety car. Now what is that for? Does someone have damage? Have a look. What about Carito? Has he got his front wing? Yeah, he's got all of his front wing intact. Is it Squire? Yes, Allied Squire has no front wing on the car. Oh, and it's a bit unfortunate. safety car number 3 is out. Squire is still in this Grand Prix and just needs to get a bit of rhythm in the car, it would seem. Well, he's retired from the race, in fact, which is absolutely his right to do. Girthy Steve is now brought back into the Grand Prix with a new set of tyres on the car, and I imagine with 17 laps remaining, these front runners will now box for medium compound tyres. Let's see if they prove me right. Deflated boxes, Killian boxes, Josh comes in, so does Chaz, so does Wiggles. Fury stays out though, so does Asthma Frog. What about Top Gun? He stays out. Padge is in for new tyres. Arjan has already boxed in this race, so doesn't need to at the moment. TD comes in, Joseph comes in, so does Carito. And RP1 Ice, currently in 14th place, will stay out. Smaller Smiley, eager to get on with it. Trying to force Ice to go quicker here. So, only 5 people. No, only 4 people, correction, have not pitted so far. The top 3 plus RP1 Ice. Smaller Smiley boxed on the opening lap for hard compound tyres, so for mediums, and then went back onto the hards. So Smaller Smiley has done his mandatory pit stop. Obviously Arjan as well has already boxed onto medium compound tyres 5 laps ago. So only the 4 drivers who have yet to make a pit stop. But Deflated might be in the best spot possible. Obviously, the challenge for Deflated and the rest of the front runners, Killian, Josh, Chaz and Wiggles, will be to try and get ahead of Arjan in the Ferrari and the top 3 who have yet to pit. And with new medium compound tyres, that will be relatively straightforward. But obviously Josh needs to make his way through the field without making any mistakes. Deflated also likewise. Any big mistake from either of those could hand Drivers' Championship to the other. This, of course, has shaken up the order, which means McLaren are not gaining as many points on Red Bull as they were a minute ago. Let's see, McLaren at the moment are scoring 16 points. Josh is scoring 8 points, which means Red Bull will still be Constructors' Champion as things stand. Top Gun does decide to pit. He loses track position, but more importantly, he's got that pit stop out of the way. And may not have to pit again in this race. Brought out a VSC on the opening couple of laps for getting rid of his own front wing. Safety car's in this lap, and that's a late call. So, the field is back. And Fury, on 11-lap-old medium hard compound tyres even, has caught Asthma Frog napping and has already got a second and a half. And Deflated Wee is getting on with this pretty quickly here. Needs to get past this Ferrari ASAP. And it looks all fair from my seat at the moment. What about Josh? He has little chance for company. Mr. Wiggles has dropped back slightly from that group, but the opening lap of a safety car restart is a perfect opportunity to claw back some time you've lost. Arjan looking to defend P4, but he knows that he's got a gauntlet of drivers coming for him there. Will Killian go for it? A little bit of contact, but only very minor. Oh, and almost pushed off track. And here comes Josh now. He's got Chaz to the left. He's got an Alpine in front, and Chaz is going around the outside. Into the spoon corner, Chaz has the inside line, and here comes Mr. Wiggles. Josh is dropping. But Josh fighting back. Half a car length ahead into 130R, and Mr. Wiggles wisely backs off. Oh, that could have ended so badly. Josh a little bit too deep there into the chicane, and this might give Mr. Wiggles a really good opportunity to get the run on him down into turn 1. Further up the field, we've got Killian and Arjan side by side. Deflated Wee has already made his way back into P2 and past Asma Frog. You can see in the foreground there as Killian makes his way past Arjan. And who is that? It's Asma Frog spinning. For a moment there, I thought Deflated had spun the car at the end of turn 2. And I thought drama was going to unfold before our very eyes. Deflated has absolutely nailed this restart from his perspective. He's got a 2-second gap now to Killian, who has been inadvertently held up by Arjan. Of course, it's well within Arjan's right to defend. He is defending from Chaz, who goes around the outside of the hairpin. Oh, Arjan, that's on the grass. Oh, and that could have ended so badly on a different day. Mr. Wiggles here is really pushing Josh along and is basically saying, get ahead of that Ferrari now, or I will overtake you. Arjan goes defensive before 130R. Mr. Wiggles has really good straight line speed here and is looking to go around the outside of the chicane. Wiggle. Josh brakes a bit too late, avoids contact, but now Wiggles puts the pressure on. Killian trying to close that gap to Deflated, who is battling for the lead. And more contact! Arjan's round! And a full course yellow. Sector 3 and Sector 1 as Arjan gets back on track. Carito has span in the first sector. And smaller Smiley, potential contact between the pair of them as Deflated looks to challenge for the lead. Everything is back to green flag conditions in once again another moment of madness, which we unfortunately did not capture all of it. Josh currently running in P5, Deflated running in second, and is being held up here by Fury. Fury, of course, was running P6 and had decent pace before the safety cars came out. So Fury is no slouch, but Deflated Wee here is being held up, and Killian is closing that gap. We are halfway through the final race of the season. Sys Tier 1 will be coming to a close after this race, and the championship is still not yet decided. Josh leads Deflated by 23 points. Deflated needs to win this Grand Prix to have any hope of winning the championship. Josh, if he finishes 8th or above, will be champion no matter what Wee does. If Wee doesn't win, Josh automatically will be back-to-back champion. Fury is defending here like a lion. Deflated needs to get back past into the lead ASAP. Remember, Fury hasn't pitted for new tyres yet, so he will have to, as Arjan in 15th place has had a bit of a spin in the first sector. Fury at the spoon corner getting a 3-second time penalty. So now this is two groups of leaders. We've got first to third and fourth to sixth. Will Deflated go for it into this chicane? He's having a look. He's gone on the brakes, and he has made the move. Fury, big snap of oversteer, corrects it, and that gives Deflated an opening to start to pull a gap, but Fury is gaining with the DRS open. He's not open, actually. Good straight line speed from Fury on his setup. And Deflated is released into the lead of the race where he needs to be. Fury signs that he is struggling on his tyres. Now 9/10 behind our race leader, and Killian might be the next driver to experience what it's like to try and get past that Haas. Chaz is starting to put the pressure now back on Killian as he's gained a whole second in this last lap to the top three. Chaz obviously has Josh and Wiggles for company. The Constructors' Championship has now taken a bit more of a twist. Remember, Red Bull lead McLaren by 19 points. McLaren at the moment scoring 33 points. And Josh is only scoring 10. So as things stand, McLaren will be Constructors' Champion. However, Fury does need to make a mandatory pit stop, so does RP1 Ice, which may, in fact probably will, promote Carito up 2 places, which might make him now score points. So this is going to change, this Constructors' battle. Arjan boxes in the Ferrari garage for a new set of medium compound tyres where he will spend the rest of the race. Carito, in his attempt to get points for the Red Bull garage, with a 3-second time penalty. That may be the difference between Constructors' Championship or not. Killian, as you can see, being held up by Fury. Deflated is driving into the distance like he did on that safety car restart. But now is Killian's best opportunity. A couple of laps ago he saw Deflated go down the inside of Fury at this very chicane. But Fury on those hard compound tyres is getting fantastic exits. But now Killian, look at the straight line speed. He's got the ERS on, he's got the DRS open, and that was the commitment that he needed to get through into second place. It has been an absolutely phenomenal season, and we really hope for everyone who's been on this journey, whether in the driver's cockpit, behind the scenes, in the Discord, or just watching the streams, we hope you've enjoyed this, and we will really miss this. Girthy Steve has retired, unfortunately, in the pit lane. That will not bring out a safety car. Give you a rundown of the top 10 then. Deflated Wheat and Killian are on the podium. Fury, I would say, is on the podium as well as things stand, but he will need to make his mandatory pit stop in the next chunk of laps. That will promote little Chaz up to P3. Josh will then be P4, Mr. Wiggles P5, Top Gun and Joseph Hales will be promoted into the top 7. RP1 Ice, another of 3 drivers who have yet to make a pit stop, and I imagine their second stint will most probably be as soft compounds. Patch running 10th and no time penalties, has a good gap behind to Asthma Frog, so Padge will score good points here tonight if this good performance carries on. Fury does box, and what compound will he go on to? It's mediums. Not surprised by that at all with 7 laps remaining. However, Ice Asthma Frog may have plans to go on to soft compound. Asthma Frog doesn't, as he makes me eat my words. I wonder if Smaller Smiley's going to the ends. He's got time penalties and he's not in the points at the moment, so points is looking unlikely for Smaller Smiley as things stand. We've already had a virtual safety car and 2 full safety cars, so don't rule out the possibility of another safety car in this Grand Prix. 7 laps remaining, plus the one they're on. These top 5 have been different gravy, and the only thing separating them at the moment have been safety cars and ramifications of those safety car restarts. Back to the constructors picture, and McLaren now scoring 35 points. Red Bull at the moment scoring 13 points, so that's a difference of 22, which means at the moment McLaren will be constructors champions. But Carito now up into P9, so McLaren, as things stand, will win the constructors by 2 points. With Carito now into P9, and Mr. Wiggles spinning, and that has completely changed the constructors once again. McLaren now not scoring as many points, and they've lost 4 points here. This puts Red Bull back in the driver's seat for the Constructors' Championship. And there's nothing more that Deflated can do, because he's winning the Grand Prix. So Mr. Wiggles here, if McLaren want this championship, he needs to overtake Joseph Hales at the very minimum. Could we have just seen the moment that the Constructors' Championship was decided? As things stand, it will be a double championship for Josh, due for Constructors' Championship glory, and if he stays 4th place, will be Drivers' Champion for the back-to-back seasons from last time around. Remember, Josh needs to finish 8th or above to automatically win him this title. He is 23 points to the good on Deflated, who is doing his part and winning this Grand Prix, which he has to. Has a 2.3 second lead on Killian, who does not have Chaz behind, putting pressure on behind him at this moment. Asthma Frog takes the fastest lap of the race. Doesn't matter if Wee gets the fastest lap or not. At the moment, Josh is still scoring enough points to win. Josh doesn't need the fastest lap. He doesn't need to overtake Chaz. However, I'm sure Josh would like to finish on the podium. This would only be the 2nd race that Josh has failed to score a podium this season. Yellow flag and a full course safety car. Is that for Arjan? No front wing for Arjan, and a full course safety car, and it's causing everyone to box. Soft tyres on the car. Top Gun stays out, and so does Joseph Hales. This could be the last minute drama maybe some were hoping for. Smaller Smiley stays out. Crucially though, not ahead of Josh. Still P6. Which, from Josh's perspective, is absolutely fine. Deflated Wii now needs to overtake 2 more cars to win this Grand Prix. Is very much on. Any mistake now for Deflated or Josh will most likely send them out of the points. Once this field has bunched up again, any huge mistake, a spin, a crash, a bit of contact, a bit of time where you're forced off track, could easily send you back out of the points. Top Gun, you'll notice, has pitted. That has released Deflated into P2. Just means that when Deflated's trying to get past Joseph Hales, even if Joseph defends for a couple of laps, Deflated will have DRS for the race win. The good news for Josh is that he has Smaller Smiley behind, and that's not saying Smaller Smiley is slow, of course. It just means that with those 22 lap old hard compound tyres on behind Josh, Josh may not be under immediate pressure on this safety car restart. Can maybe try and build a gap on Smaller Smiley before Mr. Wiggles tries to close that gap to Josh. Josh has one hand on the championship and he is 3 laps away from back-to-back Assist Tier 1 championships. Deflated Wii needs to win this race. And if you're watching this on catch-up, I imagine you'll be shouting at your TV screen now telling me to stop saying that. Remember, the Assist Tier 2 Championship has been decided already. CTFD running out as Drivers' Champion, but we still have the final race of the season on Sunday night, 7:30 PM GMT on this channel. Join us for Assist Tier 2 coverage of the Japanese Grand Prix to round off what has been a thoroughly enjoyable and successful Season 4. And that is a very late call from the safety car. I don't think you can get a later call than that. Joseph Hales forced to be very defensive here. Here comes the restart. Will this be contact? Will this be a clean move? Move for the lead. And I know Wee's got soft tyres on, but that is a decent overtake. If that wins him the Grand Prix, and indeed the championship, you could not do it in a better manner. Truly fantastic overtake there into the first corner without contact. Granted, he did have quicker tyres on the car, but Joseph was thrown under the bus there by the safety car coming in so late. 3 laps remaining of this season. Mr. Wiggles looking for a move down the inside of Josh. Kirito is up to 7th. This is going to put Red Bull as the Constructors' Champions as things stand. Fury is going side by side with Smaller Smiley, who has opted to stay out on those worn hard tyres during the last safety car, and as a result he is really struggling on grip. and he's going to lose all hope of scoring points here tonight. Top Gun. Ambitious around the outside. Oh, and a bit of contact from Padge. Thankfully, didn't really affect Top Gun too much. Killian now side by side with Joseph Hales. Bit of contact. But good defending from Joseph here, who is hoping to get on the podium in back-to-back Japanese Grand Prix. One on Tuesday night, if you remember. Is driven off into the distance, which won't mean too much as things stand. Josh is P5 and doing everything he needs to win the championship. Yellow flag. We've got Arjan. Not enjoying that corner, it has to be said. And I'm sure he'll be very glad to see the back of this track. Killian pulling out of the slipstream, trying to go for the move. And Joseph, this is remarkable defending from Joseph Hales here. If he gets a podium out of this race. It will be a minor miracle. Oh, and contact! And Killian! Oh my word. Killian almost caused a huge collision. TD with a time penalty. Killian! Oh, and Joseph lost it! Josh is now second. And this midfield fight. Kirito's up to P4. And Red Bull completely in control of the Constructors' Championship. 1 lap to go. Deflated. Leading by 5 seconds, but that doesn't matter. The big kicker here could be Kirito and where he finishes for the Constructors. If Josh makes any mistake, it will be Wii's championship. But under huge pressure, Josh has delivered so many times before. Yellow flags for someone in Sector 1. TD. Not quite been his race. Not going to score points tonight. Deflated though. He came into this, lost out on pole position by less than a tenth of a second to Josh. He's done everything he needed to. He's bossed this race. He deserves to win. But here comes Josh. Round the final corner. And it's a 2-time for Josh. Back-to-back champions. Wiggles finishes on the podium. Top Gun in P4. Chaz in P5. Padge, Kirito, Killian, Fury. Smaller Smiley in the points. After choosing not to pit and doing 26 laps on the hard compounds. Defends from Asthma Frog and Ice on the line. TD, well, thank you so much for doing some donuts. It has been an absolutely phenomenal season. Genuinely can't think of a more dramatic way to finish this season off. But it is Josh who wins the championship. Deflated. Commiserations. Deflated keeps up his very impressive Assist Tier 1 point scoring streak. Over 50 races now, Deflated Wii has finished back-to-back in the points. Thank you, CD, for that. I am going to try and get Josh on board for a little interview with the Assist Tier 1 champion. Bear with me a few seconds. Deflated wins and gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But it is Josh who is champion. Let's think. McLaren have scored 41 points. Red Bull have scored 18 plus 6, 24. I can't remember what I said about McLaren. Oh my word. Chat needs to help me here. Right. Red Bull have scored 24 points. McLaren have scored 43. You know what? I think it's tied. I think it's a tie on points. Please correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think the constructors are tied. Let's get these results out and confirmed. 3 retirements from the Grand Prix. Girthy, Squire, E69. 41, not 43. Thank you. So Red Bull have won it by 2 points. That was... They were 19 in front. I said 43 instead of 41. That's why I thought they tied. Thank you for correcting me, Steely. Sorry I didn't run through the official finishes in that Grand Prix. There may be penalties after the race, so we have to keep our eyes open on the steward report to see if anything changes with the constructors' points. Josh has joined me in the party. First of all, congratulations. Is your audio included? Lovely. Well, obviously you didn't need to finish incredibly tonight, but I'm sure you're under a lot of pressure from Mr. Wiggles for a large portion of that race. How are you feeling with him pressurising you behind? So yeah, how do you feel? Back-to-back champion. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling. Going 18 full races, battling with Killian and Wee, obviously the main two. Every single race, having to absolutely sweat every single lap out, perfecting qualifying laps. The amount of times, especially in qualifying, where you've made maybe the smallest amount of smallest twitch, lost 200s maybe, and that's like the difference between pole and second every race. It's unbelievable. So to come through after 18 races to win the championship again is quite unreal.
It's truly remarkable how you've done it as well, because after the horrible glitch you had in Baku in round 1, where you were just sat after turn 2 not being able to drive, you've scored a podium in every single race since to take this championship. So basically you've won the championship with a race less than Deflated. So I mean, full credit to you, mate, and obviously with your 7th pole position tonight, you have the most pole positions this season as well.
Beautiful.
I mean, I imagine we will be back next season fighting for that crown, and I'm sure Killian will be up there as well.
100%.
Pushing you to your limits, but yeah, I've bigged you top 3 up on the stream, so feel free to rewatch that.
I saw the first part of Q1, so I caught some of it.
But yeah, it's been wonderful having you here. Thank you for joining us on stream. Once again, many congratulations, back-to-back champion. Only one other driver has done that, IIRacingLeague. Are you going to be back in season 3 for a hat trick?
Yeah, most definitely. May as well give it a go. New game, so I'm a bit burnt out with this game. We have been for a few weeks, so the fact it's been so close to the championships took to maybe play the game maybe more than I wanted to, but I'm glad that it's over now so I can take a break, and yeah, definitely be back next season on the new game.
Well, let's. I'm sure you'll join me in uninstalling this game immediately. But,
I don't know. I might.
Yeah, hopefully next game will be a little bit better, and you won't get as many glitches on it. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, thank you so much, Josh, for joining me.
Pleasure.
Once again, many congratulations and enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you, mate. Pleasure. Thanks to you for streaming all season as well. Amazing always watching the streams back. So yeah, hopefully you're back commentating as well next season maybe.
I'll PayPal you later, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.